kind of stuff. So welcome. This is our members only page stream where we go a little deeper into some of the topics and themes that come up throughout the week in the other streams. And because this week is dedicated to surviving the panelverse, we're going to talk about emotions that crop up in the panelverse a lot. We talked about rage yesterday. And today we're going to talk about the sense of betrayal or broken trust or whatever, anything along those lines. And the specific emotional signal for that. Remember, the rage was that furnace that just starts. It's like the little pilot light that bursts into a raging furnace inside of you, like in less than a split second. The emotion today is that punch to the gut, that feeling you get in the panelverse where you think one thing about a person or a connection or a relationship or somebody you thought you could trust, and you see something in chat, you see something on a panel, something in Discord, you hear them say something, and it subjectively feels like a betrayal, a breach of trust, a violation of some implicit contract that you had with them in your mind, or maybe it was explicit in certain cases. So we're going to talk about that emotion because alliances shift here and friendships and whatever you want to call the bonds that form between people here. Because whether they're real friendships, whether they're content, whether they're just YouTube alliances, there are bonds that form here between specific people more than others. Like I'm more connected with certain people here in the panelverse than others. And so that's some kind of bond, some kind of hierarchy of bonding. Whether that bonding is friendship is a conversation. And so when those bonds break or when somebody does something to that raises a sense in you subjectively of having broken. And in the moment, you're not aware of any of this. In the moment, it just feels like betrayal. It just feels like this person just fucked me over. This person just broke my trust. This person lied to me. Whatever the story in your head about the emotion. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I want to say one little thing about emotional sensitivity. I don't use the word negatively. It's a gift. It's a strength. Sensitivity is being more fine-tuned than the average person who's not as sensitive. So it's more of something good. It's not a bad thing. Artists use it. Everyone here making these AI videos and the music and the art that they're sharing here. That sensitivity is part of the reason they're able to make it as good as they are. So it comes with the gift. But there can be, if we don't know how to manage all of the data that the sensitivity kind of takes in, is exposed to. It's like a satellite dish. It just takes in everything from everywhere. And then you have the reactions to all that data. So if we don't know what to do with that or how to manage it, it could be a burdensome gift. But I do see it as a gift. So nothing I'm saying today is meant to disparage emotional sensitivity. I think it's a good thing. All right. The very first thing to do, and some of this is general advice for any kind of emotion, but I'm going to target it specifically to this sense of panelverse disloyalty. As if they owe you something, as if you're entitled to anybody's loyalty here, etc., unless it's you and that person explicitly made some kind of agreement. The panelverse, much like life, runs off of a lot of assumptions, and we're not all making the same assumptions at all times. So there's going to be these disconnects and the emotional fallout from it. So when you feel that gut punch, that sting, that like dagger to the heart, the very first thing you could do other than like whatever you do to get a handle on emotions, whether it's breathing, a pause, grounding. I do the cold water thing. That's what helps me. Because you're probably being raised into your sympathetic nervous system at that moment. It's probably switched on. And so the sooner you can get that turned back down and your parasympathetic nervous system restored, that'll help you do the problem solving better. But the very first thing when you're aware you're having the emotion is to isolate the emotion itself and the signal, the thing you're reacting to, the specific word, the specific event, the specific comment, and get as specific as you can. What is the one little thing that happened that I saw that just set off that emotion? Isolate that. That is the signal. And right away, immediately, as soon as the signal hits your brain, there's also going to be a story that starts to form around the signal. You have to try to separate that story from the signal itself. And that's part of that problem solving technique that we talked about last week, where you look at the facts. What am I working with here? What's actually happening? And one of the facts is whatever you saw, the comment, the person on panel saying something, somebody talking to somebody in Discord that you didn't think they would talk to, disloyalty, that kind of thing. Isolate the very specific event. I was in chat and this person said hi to my worst enemy and didn't say hi to me. That's a very specific event. And then when you saw that emotion got set off, that punch to the gut, there could be some rage with it. So you don't know what that means, that the person said hi to this person and they didn't say hi to you. Maybe they didn't see you. Maybe they said hi to you and you didn't notice it was earlier in the chat. Maybe they're talking to that person for a reason you don't know about, but your brain doesn't know any of this. So your imagination is going to fill in right away with a story. How dare they? I thought they were my friend. They know I hate this person. No friend would do this. I should have known better than to trust them. All that stuff's going to start to fill in. Keep that separate from whatever happened that you're reacting to. That's going to help you when you do your problem solving. Another thing, get in your body. Do not try to hide from the emotion. Don't try to repress it. You're going to need the intelligence that comes from it. You need the information embedded in it, the data. Get into your body. Feel the tightness of the chest. Feel the hot face. Feel the pit in your gut, like that punch where your heart just like drops into your gut. Feel all of that as much as you can. Ground in the body and ground in that signal, that emotional signal. Ground in that pain. You want to build a container for it. It's okay to have the pain. Don't try to not feel it because you want that information stream to flow. You just need to have a container for it somehow. And container is metaphorical. By that, I mean a channel like this, a friend you could talk to. Maybe you sit in your room and you put on some music and you kind of have the emotion while the music's playing. Something like that. Maybe you watch a YouTube video. Maybe you go for a walk. So it allows you to have the emotion, but it allows you to have something else around the emotion that you could focus on and kind of monitor the emotion against, so that it's not just you in the emotion, like just drowning in the emotion. So separate the signal from the story. Ground in your body. Check in with those feelings. Keep them flowing. Keep them active. Find or build some kind of container. And also know that these particular emotions, the kind I'm talking about, the betrayal, the gut punch, the rage, they have an average cycle of about 20 to 40 minutes. So as intense as they seem at the time, they are temporary. They will subside. Just knowing that they have a cycle that you can ride out helps me to ride them out. I'm not trapped in an unknown, infinite process. I know that if I give it some time, they're going to subside. They're going to reset. I do know not to make any important decisions in that window. If at all possible, to try to wait at least 40 minutes, an hour. Give it an hour, half an hour. You should start noticing a change. But sometimes, if I don't, until I have that story, I can hold my brain back from filling in with all kind of random stories. I mean, it's going to try, but I can detach from them and not give any one of them weight and kind of live in this state of suspension and unknown. But at some point, for me to resolve this and for the emotions to fully stop, I'm going to have some kind of story to put in there. And so that's usually where a conversation with the person helps. I get that healing conversation. I get the story that both people can kind of agree what happened. But until I get that, those emotions are probably going to keep coming back. So I'm going to have to do this every time, constantly, while that confusion and unknown is happening. Because that's the void that my brain is trying to fill in with the story. It needs to make sense of what just happened. It needs to make sense of the panelverse. And that will drive you crazy right there. If you don't know, A, how to make sense of the panelverse and the rules of what constitutes sense in the panelverse in the first place. It has its own Alice in Wonderland type logic sometimes. Another thing you want to have in these situations, and maybe not immediately, but as soon as is convenient, I guess, you want to have some people, one or two or three people, and I have a little team offline outside of YouTube, a team of peers and friends that when I need to, I can take issues to. I can bounce them off. We can process together. These are your reality checkers. These are the people that here's what's going on in my mind. Here's what I think is happening. What is your take on this? Can you help fact check me or perspective check me? Can you help me get a more realistic story? So having those people to take this to keeps you from being isolated with it and having your brain to just spin there and try to figure it out on your own. Because usually you can't figure it out until you get more information, and that's going to involve conversations with people, either the person involved or other people adjacent to them or these trusted reality check mirror people. So there's gonna some kind of dialogue if this is going to get resolved and if it's your intention to resolve it in a healthy way, some kind of dialogue at some point is probably going to have to happen. And the information pool that you're working with is going to have to be increased, and that helps you flesh out your story to something more realistic. Not that like your initial story may be realistic, but until you have the information, you don't know for sure. So it's better to maybe not react to it or act on it until you have the final story. Also, keep in mind that these kind of emotions and this sense of betrayal, rejection, is giving you information. Remember we talked about, excuse me, the timing, the alignment, the fit. That could all be information on maybe it's just the moment was timed wrong. It's not the story you think it is. It's just a sign that whatever you were trying to say or do at the moment was not aligned or timed with either the other people or that event. And so it helps you to take it less personally if that's the case. It doesn't even mean your thing was bad or that you did anything wrong. It was just a timing thing. Sometimes that happens in relationships. I've had relationships where they just didn't work out for no other reason but the timing was not right. If certain things had happened or been said at a slightly different time than they were, it would have had a completely different outcome for the relationship. So sometimes it's just bad timing on either person's part, and I don't think anybody's really at fault for that. They talk about, well, actually, they tailor it to YouTube specifically. So let's take a look at that next. As creators, as channel owners, as in a way competitors, but also collaborators, because we all work together and sometimes against each other to help keep this space going. Um, when we put ourselves out there as creators, there's a sense of like general rejection, faceless, nameless, anonymous rejection from the public. Our numbers drop, our view counts are way lower than we're used to seeing. So in this environment specifically, that can also all be experienced as a sign of rejection. It's not a personal rejection, but it can activate that same feeling, that same doubt. And you, again, when this happens, you want to do the same thing. You want to separate the signal, which is maybe your numbers dropped. Maybe there's only 3 people watching, from the story that you tell yourself about that number drop. It could be YouTube just cleaning house, which happens a lot. That's every time I see my numbers drop, the story I tell myself, my default story. Oh, YouTube must be cleaning house. They must be getting rid of some old bots. That's the story. Unless I have a reason to tell myself a different story, every time I see my numbers drop, it's YouTube cleaning house, and I move on. I don't stress about it. I don't think about it. I don't overanalyze it. If it drops drastically, I might, but that's never happened yet. It's been little drops here and there, periodically, that could easily fall into the explanation of YouTube cleaning house. So I keep the number drops separate from any kind of story I'm going to tell myself about it, or if viewers don't show up. Now on these member streams, excuse me, StreamYard doesn't show me the view count, so I actually don't know how many people are watching these. So these member streams give me good practice in talking when there are no viewers or nobody's there, which is how I started my channel to begin with. I had to just learn to talk on YouTube when nobody was watching, as though somebody might be watching later. Um, you want to focus on your work, and it goes back to what I said yesterday, like being very clear about what you're here to do. You want to focus on making your product as good as it can be and not so much worry about what the numbers say when you put it out or what the reaction is when you put it out. We all like the feedback. We kind of depend on it, and we definitely use it to make ourselves better. But when the feedback is not there, we don't want that to take the focus away from the actual work we're doing or internalize any negative messages about our work. If we truly believe in what we're doing and we're confident that we're doing it the best we can, don't if you are convinced of that, don't change that just because of this generic ambient, what could feel like rejection sometimes. And remember, rejection can be feedback. As painful as it is, it's still information. You can take it, you can incorporate it into your picture of who you think you are, who you think other people are, who people think you are. They also recommend having a reset activity, which definitely helps me. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it is a book, or putting on a show that I like, or chatting in Discord with a friend, or talking on the phone, just going for a walk sometimes. When I used to walk to work, at the end of the day when I'd walk home, that was a wonderful reset walk. By the time I got home, work was so far away in the rearview mirror, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was totally just in the moment for what was I going to do that evening. And then let me see one more couple of things, and then I will drop a link. So the two things, how you recover, how you move toward resolution and getting that ultimate final story. Conversation. So if conversation is going to be hard with a person, we're learning how to have better conversations here. So you can always come here. You can try to have a healing conversation with them, but you might need to start small. You might need to get help from a third party mediator, but you can also like train yourself to endure rejection. You can fortify yourself against it, especially this kind of social media type rejection where we post something that we poured all our heart into and we're expecting one reaction and we get a bunch of thumbs down or we get two people watching it, etc. And then we get that crash like, oh, I thought what I was doing was so good. It's worthless, it's useless, nobody's into it, you're deluding yourself, etc. All that negative self-talk and internalizing negative stories based on that one signal. When I say you have agency, you are in control of the stories you tell yourself in response to a signal. You may not be in control of the signal, but you definitely have some influence over those stories. And so, kind of being aware we're in a doom spiral or negative spiral of negative stories. And you can do things like deliberately post something with the expectation of getting low views. Like kind of psych yourself out and prepare for that kind of rejection. Just say, I'm going to do the crappiest video I can. I'm going to put out the biggest piece of crap I can, and I'm going to see how many numbers it gets. Oh, 2 numbers? Okay, I can handle that. And you can gradually desensitize yourself to that kind of rejection. When I first started doing this, I knew I wouldn't have numbers, but I would go back, like the whole time I was doing it, I when I would hear myself or be aware of me saying something, I would imagine how it was coming across on camera, and I would cringe, and I would be like, "Oh my God, that sounded so stupid. Oh God, that came out completely dumb. Oh my God, I wish I could rewind and redo this. I messed that up so bad." And then I would go back and watch, and as a viewer, I wouldn't notice any of that. All the stuff in my head that I was thinking in reaction to the little mistakes that I thought I was making, the viewer cannot see any of that. I look completely normal. If I didn't know it myself, I would not be able to tell that I was even thinking that. So once I watched enough of that to realize that that head talk that happens while I'm on here doesn't show up on screen, I was able to let it go. I haven't done that in years. I can, that's one reason that this is a space where I can come here and say what I want and not have to be self-conscious and not have to worry, is because I've filtered out all of that stuff from watching myself on videos and seeing, like having direct personal experience that what's in my head is not what is people are seeing on the screen. So I can let it go. It's just complete brain noise. That's it. And I don't even have it anymore at all. It doesn't even show up. It's just me talking to you. Whatever comes out of my brain, direct to you. And with that, I'm going to drop the link. We are going to see if there's a panel going. Remember, I'm working blind here, so I really don't know who's watching, if anyone, unless they chat or come on panel. These are our members only streams, so they're much smaller, they're more intimate, they're growing. I don't come to these with the expectation that there's a lot of viewers or anything like that. These are some that most people probably watch later on their own if they're interested. But this is where all the good stuff's going to be from now on. All of the practical, hands-on stuff, the theory, the geek stuff, the nerd stuff, and this is where we're going to problem solve. So if you have problems that you want us to look at, bring them to this stream, and we'll put them under the microscope and see how we can help. So there you go. That's what I have for you today. And I'm just going to hang out for a bit. And then if there's no interest in a panel or any questions or anybody has a problem to look at, I'll go ahead and wind it down. And tonight, community campfire and artist salon. I think that's going to kind of be the pattern from now on. It's working really well, that evening stream. We're going to start with some conversation and then kind of move into some dancing, poetry reading, art sharing. Maybe we'll get some musicians, that kind of stuff. Our little salon in our bohemian grove. All right. Well, if you are out there and you want to type something in the chat, just to let me know. But if you don't, I am well fortified against taking it as any kind of rejection or lack of interest or anything. I understand how YouTube works, especially how these member stream works. This is the tier I'm trying to grow. So we'll see where it is in 6 months. All right, let me look at some social media. Oh, okay. Hang on, we have somebody that might be wanting to come on. Okie doke. All right, well, I don't really have anything else. I've shared what I wanted to share on the topic. At least it is archived, it's down on video. That's my intentions with these things. And people can use it as they will. If you do have any questions or need to contact with me, find me on Discord, GenXJeff. You can email me through my website, sadersgrove.com. It's in the video description. I'm also on Twitter. And you know what? I will go for another minute and a half, make it 30 minutes. And then we'll wrap up. Later tonight, maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours from now, I'll open up another open panel. It'll be our community campfire. That's where we kind of talk, but not just chit chat. We try to go a layer deeper than that on these community campfires and really get to know each other, hear each other's stories, try to see the world from each other's perspectives, that kind of thing. And then we have fun. We dance, share art, and play with AI, all kind of good stuff. So show up for that if you like. Those are open streams. Outside of that, I guess that's it. We're coming up on half an hour. So thanks for being here, and see you tonight for the party stream. All right, take care, everybody.